Donald Trump has recovered from the coronavirus, but can he recover the presidential election as he is way behind sleepy Joe Biden? You're joining us on the Friday Night Live. Welcome back to D in the middle. And we've got Mac on the far right, or possibly left as you look at it. I never know with these things. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Hello.
Mic check. We're hearing you loud and clear, I trust. Wow. Are you happy about Trump's recovery thanks to the wonder drug Regeneron? It sounds like something you'd order off Alex Jones's website if you wanted to regrow your hair or something.
Well, Mac, you muted, I think.
Mac, we can't hear you.
It says,
maybe. You shouldn't have told him. Could have been the best show ever. And he would have loved it, and so would we.
I saw. I would have clocked.
Would you?
Yeah.
I know you would. It's called Regeneron, and it's the best thing ever, but it costs a lot of money, and regular Americans can't have it. But
it sounds like regenerate, and it's like he can't pronounce the word regenerate, so he calls it
Regeneron. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like one of the
made-up word.
But he needs to regenerate his campaign because he's falling way behind. And I saw an article that said faith groups are backing Biden, and note it didn't say churches, faith groups. So I'm assuming that means synagogues, gurdwaras, and mosques and all the rest of it. And Joe Biden is from a minority faith background. He's a Roman Catholic. There's only been one other Roman Catholic president ever, as you know, and he was tragically killed by a swerving bullet. But it seems like Trump, although he is white, Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the dominant socio-religious ethnic group throughout history in the United States, that doesn't seem to matter anymore. And with the demographic shift, although these people are probably still a plurality in the United States, they're not a majority anymore. So if you want to win the popular vote, which Trump didn't win last time, by the way, but if you want to win in a democratic election, you will have to appeal to more than just one demographic, it would seem. And in the chat, some spread lies, others know the truth. Who is who? Who is whom? But we're not grammar Nazis on here. Oh, is that just a name? My God, I thought I was reading it out as if it was a comment. The comment is simply a thumbs up. With a name like that, who needs a comment? Very good. And Amir Reza Bani Hashemi, it says, "Hi Mac, did you get a haircut?" Keeping it on topic.
Well, it grew backwards.
Yeah.
Oh, what, me?
No, well, Mac is saying D may or may not have got.
It grew backwards.
A haircut. Yeah, huh? Mac got attacked by the lawnmower.
It fell off actually.
Oh,
my hair
why do people say that when you have a haircut? People say, "Oh, did you have a haircut?"
Did you get a haircut? Why don't you comment on it? Yeah, yes. Exactly. And also on your birthday, like they come up to you and they go, "Oh, do you feel any different?" It's like, no. Do you feel a year older? It's like, no. It's silly questions.
Well,
whenever my sisters say something to me, I go, it's normally insecure people that mention about other people's appearance, like insecure about their own.
Yeah. To detract from the sales, do you think?
It's psychological. It's psychological. I can understand why. It's because instead of them doing it, they instead of commenting on it, they notice, obviously other people are going to notice it, but they don't want to feel like it's a psychological thing to point it out, be the one to point it out rather than, do you see what I mean? But I guess it's I think there's a psychology behind it that you think, you know what, even though I didn't fix my hair, but maybe if I point it out, it still Well, I don't know. That's what I believe. I think.
I agree. Yeah.
Do you know what they say about public speaking? And if you have an aversion to public speaking, a mental exercise that you can perform is to imagine the audience members all sitting on the toilet. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I've heard that. If
Well,
you have
the
fright.
the other night on this show, if you saw it go out live, we didn't need to imagine. But that's another story. But what I wonder why that would be useful. I mean, have you done much public speaking? Do you strike me as a confident chap, but maybe you're a lion online and a mouse outside, but I don't know. Are you a public speaker?
I did like a bit of like I was in like an institution where we had to do a lot of like stand up and address like 50 people, and like I used to be awful at it, really, really bad at it. And then I just like realized like I was in like a situation I didn't want to be in, so I just stopped doing like stuff I don't want to do. So I'll probably still be bad at it. If you got me to talk about I don't know, something a bit like that I'm not interested in, I might be a bit shit, but I don't know. Have you?
So,
Mac? Julie?
Well, yeah, Mac, are you a public speaker?
I initially, when I was younger, I was more shy, conservative, but I've changed. I mean, because of my dad, the way he grew me up, he wasn't camera shy. So, but one thing I've learned is through my dad. Obviously, they used to say my dad used to like, because he used to perform on theatre sometimes, and in his times there were no mics, so you'd have to project. So he would sometimes speak loudly as well, and I kind of got some of his traits in that sense. But saying that, I mean, to picture your audience is one good technique, yes, in that sense. But the other important thing that you need to realize for someone in my position who's not camera shy or who's not shy, there's also the importance of knowledge management.
Okay.
Wow. What is knowledge management?
Right. Knowledge management is having the ability, not only having knowledge about certain things, but knowing when to, I mean, exactly when to actually say it, when not to say it. For example,
know when to hold them, know when to throw them.
For example, yeah. If I'm just talking to someone and I can see he's not paying any attention, there's no point of me continuing. So this is, again, that's because maybe he has a span of a 5-minute conversation, but that's that again, that's up to you to decide on management. That's knowledge management. So how much knowledge you can give this person, he has a time span of 2 minutes, 5 minutes, depends on, but that's what time management is also is very important.
Time, yeah. No, and knowing your audience, I suppose.
Knowledge management, sorry, not time management. Knowledge management.
Knowledge management, yeah.
So it's not necessarily knowing like your own knowledge, because like I used to have to speak a lot about stuff. I kind of had to pretend I knew what I was on about, and that's why I like fed into me being not very, very good at it.
So, are you good at blagging it, D? Can you pull the wool over the audience's eyes?
I can. Well, I don't know. Like I've obviously have blagged it before in my past, but I don't know how it would come across. I always felt
as a teacher when you don't know the answer, and very often teachers are just one page ahead in the book, ahead of the classroom. The answer is always, well, I can't tell you, can I? You've got to work it out for yourself. I had a few teachers like that. They were good. So
what about you? Do you have any students that try and blag any like, I couldn't, my dog ate my homework?
I'm lucky. Well, I'd be lucky if they cared whether they'd done it or not. A lot of the children that I've worked with have needed a lot of different techniques to kind of inspire them. And the dog ate the homework, I think, is something out of the the Beano probably.
Better kids to work with, though, right?
Yeah. I think. Yeah, they're more fun. They're more fun. They're more interesting. But what about the comments? We've got a suggestion from 33X. What's he talking about? I'm not sure what
Why
that
don't
was
you
an
join
answer
us?
to.
Why
Yeah,
don't
you're
you
welcome to join us at
You said
33X.
toilet. You said on the toilet, but quite a lot of people say to imagine naked.
Oh yes, that was probably it. Yeah. Whatever floats your boat, really. What did you make? Did you catch Mike Pence and in the vice presidential debate?
Matt, do you want to go first?
No, go for it. I don't
Because
think I did.
whilst he was addressing the crowd and public speaking, he had a fly land on him.
Like he's
now,
a piece of shit.
Well, exactly. Now, of course, that is a nightmare scenario in terms of publicity. It looks terrible. You can write the tabloid headline yourself quite easily. But
do you reckon he got stuck in his gel?
Got stuck in his what? Oh, in his hair gel.
Hair
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Whatever it was, he stank enough for the fly to be attracted to.
Yeah.
They said he had pink eye.
Possibly. But I'm wondering, what do we learn from that? If a fly lands on his head, presumably he's not wearing an earpiece to tell him, Mike, there's a fly on you, get rid of it. Or did he consciously leave it there? Because if he got rid of it, that would show that he was wearing an earpiece. And when these debates go out, the question is always, is he wearing a wire? Are they being told what to say? Are they just puppets? I think, was it Trump the other night looked like he had some kind of earpiece? I would imagine all of these candidates have access to technology that would be able to deliver an entirely invisible earpiece, wouldn't it? If they wanted one. If they wanted to have an earpiece, it would be entirely invisible.
I think they do. They have those little kind of buds they put in their ears sometimes.
Possibly. Well, let's welcome.
By the way, PK, hi.
Triple T.
PK.
And hi, PK. Yeah, PK's there. Good to see you. Welcome, Triple T. How are you?
Thank you, gentlemen. I hope you are well too. Is it okay if I speak about public speaking for a moment, please?
Yeah, you're an expert. Go for it. Do you imagine your audience naked? Because I've been in your audience and I've filmed you. So just think carefully before you answer that question.
Is it on your YouTube?
I think it's on it's on his YouTube. Omar's a poet, but go ahead.
And you know it,
Mr. X. Yeah.
What YouTube
you're aware of it?
Triple X or 33X?
Well, with Julian's permission, it's if that's okay with the owners of the channel. It's
I'm just the manager.
The Freemasons.
Yeah, the real owners are the what he said.
Masons.
So I'm sorry, 33X. Go for it.
Sorry, yeah.
And some nonsense from out. Can you hear me, gentlemen?
Hearing you loud and clear.
Okay, so what I would like about public speaking is.
And as luck would have it, just as it's the universe telling him, go again, public speaking. The thing about public speaking is, and then you cut out.
Well, I always loved public speaking, and I was thankful that somebody mentioned a club called Toastmasters, and this is a club they've got one, I think, in every major city in the world, a huge public speaking kind of arena where lots of people have competitions and so on. They have something called table topics where they'll pick a topic and then you have to speak about it for 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
One of the because I used to do stand-up comedy, as you well know, and for me, I took time out to do poetry, something I was passionate about. When I got back into stand-up comedy, I was able to do 40 minutes with no material whatsoever. I just stood there for 40 whole minutes talking absolute nonsense. And that success, I relate back to that time I was at Toastmasters and I was speaking when they gave me any topic to speak about. I was very fortunate. I actually won at the university. We had a public speaking competition. I failed miserably. Ironically, the next stage up, I was an audience member where they had, I think, maybe 20 winners from around the country. And
Okay.
for some reason, the guy who had won, or actually there was two people who had won, one of them couldn't turn up from the region that I lived in at the time. So they asked me to take his spot. And to my absolute shock, I was able to defeat 20 minutes. And I'll give you the topic that they gave me. So
you blagged your way to the World Cup, basically, on a technicality. And now we've lost you again. Go on.
No, I'm back. So
you're back in, yeah.
So you're in the hall, and so they bring you in. So 20, I think we were 20 contestants. They take us out of the hall and bring us in one by one. And when they brought me back, they asked this question, which they asked all the other contestants, and that was, if you were marooned on an island, what one luxury would you take with you have with you? Now that's good, but you gotta but well, you might end up eating the dog, I suppose. But
he'd be better at hunting than I am. He'd keep me warm. He'd
man's best friend.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Well, you're marooned, so you don't know if there's any other animals.
The newspaper, you know.
Read it 1 billion times over, the Castaway. Yeah. But anyway, but it wasn't a case of just saying my phone or soap or whatever. But it's you got to have to make a speech for 2.5 minutes, and it can't be under 2 minutes, and it can't be over 2.5 minutes. They have two time judges that even time you on that. So that speech is what I did. I think it was about 7-8 years ago, and I'm thankful that I was able to do it just by chance. As an audience member.
Can you see the clock as you're doing it, or do you have to time it in your head?
No, they have people who are well, it's their job. I don't know what their term is. I guess I was going to say flashers, but that's probably not the right word. But they have a light. So they'll have a yellow light, which will give you a kind of warning that there's 10 seconds left. And then in those 10 seconds, you need to wrap up. And it has to be so you have judges who are seated, but maybe 3 or 4 judges that will kind of focus on every word you're saying. So they have a structure that, you know, was the audience involved, or what was the pitch too high? Was it too low? You know, all these points that they had. And I was lucky to succeed, and I ended up winning. And that speech alone, actually, even till this day,
I assume Chupati is saying it was etched on his mind. MRX, we are losing your audio. Your audio is in and out.
Okay.
But were you going head to head with other candidates? Was it something like we've seen in the presidential election? And is there an advantage to the one that goes last, maybe, as he knows what he or she has to beat in these competitions?
I was going head to head with 20 other people. So there's 20 other contestants.
But do they all go? I assume you don't all go at once.
Room.
Okay.
We didn't go because otherwise that would be unfair, because they couldn't get us. So someone would have more time to think about the answer. But with this, I mean, I think the debates that you're referring to, they have time. The best public speaker, I guess, the best anything is somebody who practices. So with all Trump and all these guys, they already know what the questions will be, and they have answers fully prepared. And I remember.
No, you're not saying it's like blind date, are you?
Well,
they've clearly rehearsed the answers. You've got to throw some curveballs in there, haven't you? Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Surely not.
Well, I remember when the BNP guy was on the Thursday show that comes on BBC One. What's it called? Is there any questions?
Griffin.
Oh, yeah, Nick Griffin. Yeah, no, they don't. They don't make
No,
them
he
like
was on
they used to.
Question Time. That's what it is. He was on Question Time, and the guy who the MP from Blackburn or somewhere who insulted Muslim women with their burqa thing on, Jack
Straw.
Black Jack, what's his name?
Jack Straw.
Jack Straw. That's it. He mentioned so before
Wasn't the letterbox? Boris.
No, that was Boris Johnson.
Yes. He would say our panelists have no idea what we're gonna talk about today. And Jack Straw, in the middle of the show, the day that Nick Griffin was on, he said, "Look, I have it all on my notes that this is it." So he ended up saying this on live TV.
Okay, so. he let the cat out of the bag.
That's too funny.
Out of the burqa. That's terrible. I applied to go on Question Time and I was rejected. They didn't want me for whatever reason. But what did you see the fly on Mike Pence, Triple T?
Yeah, that's nothing. That's no big
deal.
No,
have you had worse at your shows? What, you've been attacked by a swarm of bees or something, or rotten tomatoes? What's worse than a fly landing on your head and staying there for the duration? I mean, we know at Speaker's Corner, Leo Mohammed often has a butterfly land on his head, but everyone wants a butterfly to land on their head because that's synonymous with beauty and elegance. But a dirty old blue bottle is disgusting.
Have you seen the video of the Ton where a pigeon lands on her head?
A pigeon lands on whose head?
Is it Hatun?
Another character from Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, the one that she always goes there with like to
it's
take
the woman.
Piss out of, Muslims.
Hatun.
No,
yeah, you're right.
Hatun.
I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that. That's hilarious.
She's funny.
That's really funny. He did. The pigeon actually pooed on her head.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, he pooed. The pigeon pooed. Yeah.
Well, it's considered good luck in some cultures, but we're very biased when it comes to animals. Why is a fly bad and a butterfly good? I suppose a fly is unhygienic.
Actually,
but you could interpret it differently. Yeah? There you go.
We Persians say that, we say it's good luck.
So you say good luck, yeah?
Yeah. We in Iran, it's a superstitious thing. Yeah, baba.
Yeah, wow. Well,
a butterfly or a fly? Which one's good luck?
Well, neither.
What were you saying was good? What's good luck in Persian, Mac?
I think
we've lost Mac. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you about censorship because QAnon, the conspiracy theory, I don't know whether we should even mention it on here, but it is being banned by both Facebook and Instagram, any groups associated with QAnon. And for those of you that don't know, QAnon is this group who believe that Donald J. Trump has been divinely appointed to drain the swamp and clear up all the child abuse that's going on at deep state level. And it's one of those theories that's been debunked, but our freedom of speech to talk about it or to believe in it is being censored again by Instagram and Facebook. I'll start with Triple T. What do you make of that, Triple T?
Well, there has to be some group out there, and we were speaking. One of my friends who's also named 33X, who was telling me about Chelsea, the WikiLeaks situation. And
go on then, yeah. So let's settle this with D because he wanted to know what the deal was with the WikiLeaks. We're talking Julian Assange now, and alleged that his friend dobbed him in. Julian Assange is, of course, on trial for journalism and telling the truth.
Well, they weren't friends. The problem with Chelsea, what she did, or I should say he did at the time because he was a man. At the time, what he did was...
I'd go with she, as she likes to be known as she. But we know that previously... what was Chelsea Manning's name prior to that?
Bradley. Bradley.
Okay, no problem. So Chelsea Manning, we know who we're talking about. Said what? Triple T.
Well, Chelsea, she, I beg your pardon, was horrified with the crimes of the US. I don't know if I need to be careful what I say, of that movement over there that went into the Middle East, in particular in 2003, I think it was. So he was a soldier and a high-ranking soldier. He had all the evidence. He started to pass this on to WikiLeaks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Well, Julian Assange's company, and he gave hundreds of thousands and even more videos and paperwork information, which was, I guess, deemed classified, but many a time it was soldiers that were perpetrating horrific crimes on innocent human beings. So incrementally, she continued disseminating this information, leaking it to WikiLeaks, and then they were using this. When they caught her, they arrested her, and unfortunately, then everything was exposed, and it came back to Julian, and that's one of the reasons.
It was Julian that published it, so they already knew Julian was publishing it.
Yeah, but where was the information? The information would have continued going on if he didn't get caught. I think
she was the one that got caught, and she refused to testify.
I think at the day's information, Julian's not a huge fan of Chelsea, and there was another person, the main culprit. I hate to say this, but I can't remember the person's name, but there is a culprit, and sadly he's passed away. And when they asked Julian for a comment, he said, look, it's a sad day. The day that this was all revealed, it was a sad day. So I think there's a bit more information. Now, going back to your point, Julian, that a part of me is happy that there is, and there has to be some group out there. And I'm a huge fan of pedophile hunters and all these YouTube organizations that are there and that are catching people. And I think you have over in the USA, you have Charles, I don't know if it's Charles Branson or Charles something Hansen, Chris Hansen. He's, I mean, if you go onto YouTube and watch his shows, he catches people red-handed.
To catch a predator. And he says, I'm Chris Hansen. There's something you should know. I'm Chris Hansen, and we're doing a show about blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And now this guy, they catch these people in 24 or 48 hours. And can you imagine what's really going on out there? So much horrific crimes. And when I see these groups, I'm happy. Alex Jones said that Domino's Pizza had something to do with this, and he went a bit crazy and it went a bit wild. But I hope that there are groups out there, and there's pedos out there, so we need these groups out there. And I hope that there's a secretive one like the FBI that's stopping and catching people, but I can't say for certain.
Well, really, these vigilantes, how much good they do, I'm not really convinced. I think it's a strange kind of entertainment. People watch it to get some enjoyment out of seeing someone get one over on someone who's apparently abusing a child, which is awful. But really, the authorities should be doing more to deal with that, and perhaps instead of the war on drugs, we could have a war on child abuse.
Can I just say something?
Go on, Mac.
It's funny that they have this Catch the Predator program for like the commoners, but something in place for people like people in power like Epstein. They're doing it on a larger scale. So it's
industrial scale.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good that you say, we need to do the grooming gangs and get rid of them. Great, that is amazing. But we got to look at the bigger picture too, and that doesn't just involve these grooming gangs. It also involves people for the likes of Epstein or whoever's obviously involved on it, or Jimmy Savile or whatever. My point is, we also got to keep that in mind, because we always target the average Joe. What about the billionaires that are getting away with bigger than murder? Like, they're doing it in bigger sums.
They're untouchable. And it's just come to light that there's been much abuse covered up in the Church of England, the Anglican Church. Now, the Roman Catholic Church famously had terrible issues with child abuse and covering up child abuse, and abusers being moved to different parishes. And now it's the Church of England that's in the crosshairs for this particular crime. Now, you would have thought, or a lot of people thought, that the fact that the Catholic priest is celibate had something to do with the fact that children ended up getting abused. However, in the Church of England, the men of the cloth are welcome to marry. So I guess it's a secretive, any secretive institution with a pyramid structure like that, very few powerful people at the top, the masses at the bottom, is at risk of being abused and cycles of abuse occurring in them. Even I think the FA, the Football Association of England, were found to be covering up similar abuse. Now, in the waiting room, we have a guest who would like to join us, but I need to request for that guest to turn their camera on to show who they are, as we are doing the opposite of Boris, who's insisting on masks. We are insisting that people unmask themselves, because when people come on with the shroud or the cloak of anonymity, they tend to think that they can say anything and do anything to try to derail the show, and we have to put a stop to that. So if you would like to come in, whoever is waiting in the waiting room, turn your camera on, and you will have to show your face throughout the duration of the conversation, just because I can't afford to have what we had
Can I just say,
previous times.
It's a great idea, by the way. Triple T, you look like the Asian version of Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo.
In a good way.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good-looking guy.
You're too kind. I'll take it in that case.
The waiting room are coming in, and we're going to ask that you remain on camera because I've got my finger on the button.
Just in case. I'm looking away.
Hello.
Yeah,
welcome.
I'm
okay.
Not the best,
no, hey, look, we know who it is now. Okay. Wasn't sure who it was.
My two friends with me.
Thank you, PK. I hope you understand, because
I do. Yeah, I do.
Of what we've had, but you've been a loyal supporter of the show, so welcome and thank you.
Did something happen in one of your shows?
We've had a couple of people try to derail the show by showing things that they know would get the video flagged. Now, it's tempting to go down the ego route and think, oh, I'm so big now, they're trying to derail me, the Illuminati's trying to hush me up. It's probably just idiots with nothing better to do, but that's fine.
Yeah. It's a great conversation tonight, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Some really,
glad you're
interesting subjects brought up. Yeah, I like these sort of subjects.
Good man
very
yourself.
Thought-provoking.
That's what we try to do on here.
I know. What was I going to say? I was going to say something, but I've lost my train of thought now.
Well, we've talked the debate and the fly on the head of Mike Pence. We've talked public speaking as well, and Triple T was giving us some advice on how not to address the public. Have you done much public speaking, PK?
I haven't done. I'm quite confident speaking. I speak my mind all the time. I don't have a problem with that. Many people. I speak my mind all the time. I'm not worried about offending people. I was brought up in the 70s, 80s. That's where my childhood years were, and we was brought up. Sticks and stones will break my bones. So being offended all the time is something I don't do. I mean, even if people try to offend me, I'm not really offended, because I know they're only trying to hurt my feelings to make them feel superior or something. So I don't really feel offended when people try to offend me. In fact, I laugh at it, really, to be honest.
Now, do you genuinely not feel offended, or are you very good at hiding it?
No, I mean, look, at my age, when I was younger, yes, I was offended at things. But now I'm 50 years old, I really don't really care what people think about. I know who I am as a person in my heart. I know how I live my life. So if I have a political idea that differs from the fashionable political idea of the moment, I'm not too worried if someone wants to call me a name over that. It really doesn't bother me, to be honest. I know where I'm coming from. It's not a place of hatred, even though the SJW types do try to put you are a Nazi or you are this. In fact, I'm not. I'm a libertarian, but it seems libertarians, in other words, my definition of libertarianism is I'm not going to interfere in your life. You don't interfere in my life. As long as you're not hurt. Sorry, go on.
Does it annoy you? Because it annoys me at the fact that like, what's the purpose? It's not so much the words and what they say to me that annoys me, but like, what are you trying to gain out of it? And like, that's what annoys me.
What do you mean when they say you're wrong or you're this or you're that or something? Is that what you mean? When they're
it's like what are you trying to achieve?
Rather than talk about the subject, they just cut to. Rather than talk about the subject of the debate, they just cut to an insult. You are a fascist. You are this. You are that. You are. Is that what you mean? Is that what you're getting at there?
Oh, I didn't. Oh, so no, I meant like just like general insults. What people like to label your politics.
Yeah. No.
Can I give an example?
Well, I've been called Nazi and stuff. The general gist of with the sort of modern way it's gone, you know, the social. If you say, for example, we're in favour of Brexit, it's a very recent thing. It's very polarising for a lot of people. If you are a Nazi if you voted Brexit, or you are a racist if you voted Brexit. Now, my thing is, okay, let's say, for example, racists did vote Brexit, but does that mean everybody that voted Brexit is a racist? But people that didn't vote Brexit lump you in with everyone that is racist because you voted Brexit. Do you understand? So you see where I'm coming from?
I get you now. Yeah.
And nothing, and to a point now where it's almost like, do you know what? I'm going to really wind you up now. I'm going to have the fun now and wind you up. And
but do you ever feel uncomfortable about the people that also did vote Brexit? And I'm thinking, for example, someone like George Galloway, who's appeared on this channel multiple times,
George
and
Galloway,
you could say is a friend of the show. He came out very strongly in favour of Brexit, and he even shared platforms with the likes of Nigel Farage, who would be a political opponent usually.
Okay.
I wonder, does it bother George Galloway? And I haven't asked him this, but perhaps I should. Does it bother him that let's say the Brexit vote was close? It was won by 2% or so.
Oh, yeah.
If you took if you took the racist vote out, it would have gone the other way. And you could apply that had it gone the other way equally. I just wonder how you or George Galloway would feel about that.
If you can't, in a democracy, you can't take people's votes away because they have ideologies which you disagree with. That defeats the point of democracy.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
But it wasn't. Sorry,
go on, my
friend. They broke the like election laws. So the Brexit team that wanted to leave, what did they do? They there was two things they did. I think they overspent
or something.
Yeah, it was overspending, and then it was they were disencouraging people to vote.
I think you'll find there was things on both sides. if we actually were to Google it.
And there
not that I'm defending
probably is at
anyone, I'm
every
not defending-
election. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I get you.
I think in politics is played by the game of politics. I think when many people go into it with good intention, there are people that perhaps been in the game a long time that have now been corrupted. And unfortunately, you're going to find in business, in all aspects of life, people that are corrupt, people that will bend the rules to suit themselves. And in a sense, we all do that. We all, if we can get away with things, perhaps we do. It doesn't mean we're evil. It's just it's human nature, I think. And I would, if I could get away with something, of course I would. And any one of us here tonight probably would, if we could get away with something.
Well, a good measure of a man is what he would do if he knew he could get away with it.
Yeah,
Very
I mean,
good
this is the thing.
Very good.
If it was at the expense of someone else, I wouldn't do it.
Well, it depends on what your definition of the expense is, my friend. Because in politics, if these people believe they're absolutely right, and therefore anything they do is justified because they believe they're absolutely right. So when you say at the expense of someone else, it's the old thing on Star Trek. Spock and all that. The death. You do things. I can't remember the quote, but there's a quote. Any Trekkies out there will know it.
I'm not familiar with Star Trek. All I know is that Spock is half human, half Vulcan.
Yeah, there's a quote which is something for the many, for the few, or something. It's
I thought that was Jeremy
But
Corbyn for
basically,
the many, not the few.
No, but they nicked it off.
He nicked it.
If
Did they? Wow.
Yeah, they nicked it.
Could have fooled me.
If you believe you're right, you will, and you're in those positions playing that game. Perhaps certain people, certain personality types, will do things which are illegal or not playing fair. Let's say. Because they absolutely believe they're right, and they believe they're right to not play fair or to break the rules because they know better. And unfortunately,
now, does this come down to the psychopathic personality trait? We were talking about this the other night.
Like
how psychopaths gravitate towards certain jobs, and they will have no problem in making cutthroat decisions if it's for the greater good. They're convinced that they're right. They don't mind killing 1 million people if they think it will save 1.5 million. Perhaps.
Has anyone ever met a sociopath or a narcissist?
In psychology, there's a scenario that's put to you. They say you're on a train track that you can choose track A or track B. Track A, there's 2 people on there, and track B, there's 5 people on there. Now, the only difference is on track A, you know the person. So, in that dilemma, which way would you go, for the 2 or for the 6 or 5 people, for example? So
we have to
that is
people to survive.
Yeah, you have to, and you got like 2 minutes distance before the rail changes, and you got to choose. You either kill the 2 people or the 5 people. Now, they put it to you in a bit more. They say, now, out those 2 people, you happen to know one of them. So they try
they're a good friend.
Yeah. Interesting.
See, so there is so they try and still convince you that maybe the 5 people over your friend isn't worth it. But then again, you got 5 people over 2 people. So this is the kind of conundrum they.
I mean, I can answer your question for you. I can answer that question on my personal level. If it was someone I knew and they're a very close friend to me, and it was 5 strangers I didn't know, I'd let the 5 strangers go.
Okay. So
Matt,
from that,
Dr. Matt, is he a psychopath or not?
Does that make me morally wrong or morally correct? Does that make me morally wrong? Or
do you want to know the answer? I don't think there is.
Is it just a game of numbers? There is no. Yeah, there's no.
All right, there is no just. There is no just answer, because depending on the emotion that you're feeling at the time, you can decide either way. It's if affection, like towards your friend, overpowers your logic, then obviously, yeah.
I've got another scenario which is basically the thought experiment you're talking about, and it's this. The thought experiment is this: what should you do? Should you kill the baby or let the baby live? And I'll explain it. So basically, you've got in the Nazi Germany, under the floorboards, you've got a family. You've got a Jewish family. You've got the whole shebang from the youngest to great granny, all underneath the floorboards. If they get discovered, they're all going to die. But there's a childbearing. Say she's 17, 18. She's got a little baby, and you've got her mum and dad there. You've got their mum and dad there. You've got her siblings there, and it's her baby, and she's got the baby in her arms. And the choice is this: if the baby starts to cry. If the baby cries and makes a noise, and they discover the family, they all die. So does she suffocate, put her hand over her own child's mouth to kill that baby, to save everyone else? Bearing in mind, she's got a sister who's pregnant and got a baby in her belly. What's the right answer? There is no right answer, my friend. It's a dilemma. You can, but you have to do it yourself. You have to physically do that yourself.
I'll let the baby cry.
Parent. And there's no right or wrong answer, my friend. It's a question we must ask ourselves.
Well, D is saying that he'd let the baby cry and let what will be.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
That's fine. Now, I wonder, PK, is the test not whether you do it or not, but that a psychopath will make the decision very quickly, and that a normal person will have to take a long time to deliberate?
Well,
is that the test, or is that part of it?
Well, they might. No. The point you made is relative. The point you made is very interesting, because the psychopath might go, "I'll kill the baby now," right? Yeah. Because you've got the lives of the siblings of the young mother with the child. You've got the other child,
the sister's baby
of the other. Yeah. So you take away the potential futures of everybody if they all get caught. So the psychopath may be able to make that split decision.
Okay,
decisive.
So can I answer it? Like, a psychopath probably would.
Go for it.
Psychopath would probably say that kill the baby, because you can always create another one. But the humanitarian would be like, no, even the baby has to stay alive. But even if it means we all die, then fine, so be it.
But then, what would be the point? What would be the point of everybody dying? What would be the so-called?
Well, it would be up to whoever's going to do the killing. It's on them, then, isn't it?
It's exactly. You wouldn't be responsible. You wouldn't be responsible of taking a life. You wouldn't leave taking a life in your own hands. That's where you're taking it into your own hands, or you're leaving it in the hands of others. So that's what it comes down to.
But then, but why would I want to leave, put responsibility of my life into the hands of others, other evil people, perhaps? Why not take responsibility? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so nothing in life is certain. Like, nothing is certain. We live in the present, and so it's like I do this on a hypothetical that someone else is going to do that for certain. Well, that's not for certain. So I would.
Yeah.
That's why, because it's not certain, you can live in the now and not kill.
Very good point.
And I agree. See, you've got a very good point there, but the issue was the question. Again, we're not talking about an absolute reality here. It's a hypothetical, and it's a thought experiment.
It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. What would you do? Now, that's all. That's the question. So it's not like you're relying. Because of the question that you will be killed.
They're looking for you, basically. They're looking for you.
Yeah,
they're looking for you.
Yeah. So the point of the question is, if you allow Now, if by your action of non-action, in other words, the baby cries, the whole family dies. That means you, your brother and sister, your sister who's got a baby in the womb, everybody dies. Then there's nothing to be gained for the family.
Well, some people,
you see, so
some people say it is better to be killed. Some people say it's better to be killed than to kill. It's a very good experiment.
Yeah, do you know about the other experiment they did? Do you know about the experiment?
No,
hold on, Mac. One more comment.
Yeah, go
No, go on, PK.
No, I was just going to say, I'd love to hear the other experiment.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on. Sorry, Matt. What's the other one?
There's an experiment they did.
It's hypothetical. There's no right or wrong answer. So
did you hear about this actual experiment that they did in the USA? They got a group of people. I can't remember what the experiment and who conducted it. But they
the memory test.
No. They basically they said they had someone with a clipboard. I think we mentioned this before. Because
I'm getting deja vu. Oh man, we're watching the repeat of this show.
Experiment.
Yes.
Basically, they would bring someone, and then they would say, "Look, these are voltages, and it's connected to someone behind closed doors, and you're gonna ask them, and obviously because
and then they go on a date. Cilla Black, I remember it well. In the chat, Owen Keeling, are psychopaths NPCs? And NPC stands for non-person character, and his use of that term. Are they? But his use of the term NPC tells us something about him, doesn't it? What does that tell us about Owen Keeling?
A non-person character.
He's police. He's a police.
It's a drone.
Officer.
They're basically a drone that just follow. They walk around without thinking.
But this is a terminology that the new right has come up with to label the left or the liberals or the SJWs, right? The new right and the new left. I mean, it's
common sense versus I'm offended.
You said it. Look, gentlemen, if you don't mind the curveball for the last 8 minutes, we're going to go slightly different. And I'm going to ask you if you've seen.
Julian? Can we not just?
Nah, it's 1 hour limit tonight.
Why does it have to be an hour limit? Break the rules.
Because I've got OCD, and I'm an NPC and an OG. But in Egypt,
and you're down with OPP.
That's exactly right. In Egypt, they've dug up a whole load of sarcophagi, being the plural for the coffin type stuff that they bury underground there, where you've got all the pharaohs and their slaves that got buried with them and their animals. And I'm just wondering what you gentlemen think of the fascination we have with ancient Egypt. Why is it such a curious civilization?
What did they discover, Julian? Because I haven't heard of
a whole bunch of coffins. They call them. It's a sarcophagus, isn't it? The coffin with the face on the front of it.
Anything inside?
Yeah, they found.
Go on, Mac. You seem to be up to speed on that.
Basically, they found obviously and because it's in the deserts, it's been kept in pristine, not exactly good condition, but they can tell a lot from the race, DNA. But
can they? Can they tell the race? Because that's a great debate. What race were the ancient Egyptians? For some reason, we fixate on that.
It's a black. They can tell it's a black-skinned pharaoh. They've mentioned that obviously, and I mean, the testings that they. I mean, I can't see them going to. I mean, they only do it to African countries. It's weird that they only go into African countries and bury up the graves and tombs. But what they found is, I think it's a group of pharaohs that were buried in the same place, and it was just unraveling for the first time and seeing it what it's like.
Do they know what? how old they are, where they slot into the timeline. You know, Tutankhamun and Ramesses and the other
Yeah, that's a good
pharaohs.
question.
Do they know whether they're before, after, or you know, anything like that? Have they worked that out yet?
I mean, the timelines of the Egyptians are a bit different.
The people they've discovered.
Mm-hmm.
The people they've discovered.
They haven't. I don't think they have enough information gathered.
I guess they could carbon date it, and presumably Scooby-Doo and his friends will be along soon to run away from the mummies when they come to life. But didn't the group that excavated, would have got away with it? But didn't the group that excavated Tutankhamun all die in suspicious circumstances shortly after the excavation?
They thought it was a curse initially, but it wasn't a curse. What it was, the actual
wasn't it?
It was chemicals they were using.
False curse.
It was chemicals
attack.
I mean, they had knowledge of chemicals for not just painting.
They blamed it on Egypt.
It was the chemicals that was used to not only to mummify the body, and on top of mummify. The chemicals they used to mummify to preserve it for so many years, as well as that. Yeah, it will poisonous. As well as that, the tapestry, the colorings, and everything around inside of it were made of certain poisonous chemicals too. Asbestos, heavy metals probably. So there is that too. So initially they thought it was a curse of the pharaohs, meaning that whoever went into the tomb will be cursed and die. But no, well, maybe it was because the pharaohs knew.
Or maybe
they knew.
Monsanto.
The pharaohs knew. Do you know they found cocaine on the pharaoh's body? Did you know that? If you, I swear, if you YouTube, and it's not a fake documentary. It's one of those, on Discovery Channel documentaries. So you can see the Discovery Channel sign.
The real one.
So cocaine, it must have been around for donkey's ears then.
Exactly.
Everywhere.
They found it on the mummies' bodies. They found traces of cocaine, and I was like astonished. So as well as tobacco, they found cocaine as well.
Wow.
So that's how I'm saying.
So do you think?
Did you come across any in Peru, Julian?
Do you know what? I did come across a derivative of cocaine. The cocoa leaf is what they chew at high altitude.
Yeah,
and it is illegal in other countries.
Julian,
but no, I didn't
incriminate himself on
YouTube. No, I cannot. But I
no,
would.
No,
not.
I didn't mean use it. I just meant like
no, not really.
Encounter
no, it's not like it was.
Did you go cop some?
No, I didn't. But I'm sure if you knew where to go, you could. A clarification in the chat. Owen Keeling is saying he used the term NCP in more of a sense of human without a soul, just running a script only here to make things more interesting, and we appreciate that. Owen Keeling, sorry that I jumped to conclusions about your political outlook because of your use of a certain term, but we do live in this era of dog whistles.
It was a clever use of it was a clever use of a certain
clever use, and that's why PK comes on here and talks about SJWs, and in the morning they're calling him the far right. It's not fair. I know.
Oh, I'm worse than Hitler apparently. Just it's ridiculous.
Allegedly. Bill Fence is saying inside his stomach.
Inside whose stomach?
That must have been a reference to Tutankhamun, possibly, or one of the
Queen Victoria,
ancient pharaohs.
Oh, yeah.
Queen Victoria, I've heard
coca plants from
cocaine, and it had medical uses back in like the 1800s. So it wouldn't surprise me if they.
Nothing would surprise me about Queen Victoria.
But drugs were sort of a lot more freely available in those times.
In the good old days.
I swear the detective uses it.
Yeah, well, perhaps they were.
Well, the storyline detective. What's his name? The English detective, the book.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a big time cokehead.
Heroin, wasn't it heroin?
No, he's cokehead. He loves it
really.
Cokehead.
Cocaine, my dear Watson. Look, gentlemen, this has been the Friday night phone in.
Who'd
He's
have
been
thought?
PK, there's D, there's Mac, and there's Triple T. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll do it all again soon. We were here, and we're gone.
Good night, gentlemen.
Latest.
Enjoy your
Take care.
weekend.